HarperCollins presents In Too Deep by Simon McCleave. Read by Alice White. Anglesey. There is a word in Welsh that has no exact translation into English. Hiraeth. It is best defined as the bond you feel with a place, a mixture of pride, homesickness, and a determination to return. Most people that have visited Anglesey leave with an understanding of Hiraeth. Prologue. Castell Aberlleiniog, Isle of Anglesey, North Wales, November 1999. Midnight. A haze of moonlight cast a silvery hue upon the steep grassy hilltop that gazed vigilantly over the Menai Strait to the southeastern tip of Anglesey. It had once been home to an imposing medieval castle. On the far side of the summit, a freshly dug grave that had just been refilled with earth, patted flat, then hidden with branches and an array of gold, red and lemon-coloured autumnal leaves. A body had been placed into that earth with a suitable degree of care and reverence 15 minutes earlier. The salty night air was getting icy, and the man could feel the cold sweat on his brow and on his back as he put down the spade. Its wooden handle had rubbed the skin on his palms, and they were now sore. It had been a long time since he'd done this much manual work. The grave might have been relatively shallow, but digging it was strenuous work. A woman stood nearby, holding a large torch to illuminate his grisly work. She looked around as her anxiety grew. The man wiped his brow with his cuff. "What do you think?" "I think it's done," she replied hastily. "I think we should go." For a moment, they both gazed at where the body lay and wondered about the repercussions of what they'd done and the ramifications of its possible discovery. The rhythmic hoot of an owl high in a nearby tree broke the silence and added to the tense, ominous atmosphere. Around them, the broken grey stones of castle battlements were spread out in the darkness, where the mighty Castell Aberlleiniog had once stood. On the far side was the base of a broad rampart, fractured parapets, and the crumbled outlines of circular towers. The timber and earth of the original Motte and Bailey Norman castle had vanished centuries ago, but the stone fortifications only dated back to the 16th century. The very earth of this place was full of dark stories that went back over 1,000 years to the siege of 1094, where over 100 Norman soldiers had died defending the battlements from the Earl of Chester. These days, the place was overgrown, neglected and forgotten. Giving the grave a final ceremonial scatter of leaves, the man was satisfied it was now adequately camouflaged. He met the woman's eyes with a look of solemn trepidation that reflected his fear. It didn't matter that this was a crime of necessity, not malice. "Okay, we should get going," he said quietly, as he leaned down, grabbed the spade from the ground and pointed to the footpath that led down to where they'd parked the car. "What if no one finds him?" the woman asked. The man raised an eyebrow. "Don't worry, they will." That was the perverse irony of their crime. They wanted someone to discover the shallow grave. In fact, they needed their malevolence to be uncovered. And the sooner, the better. Chapter 1. Beaumaris, Anglesey, September 2021. Detective Inspector Laura Hart looked up from where she'd just thrown herself to the ground. The skin on her hands and knees was grazed and bleeding. What the hell just happened? Dizzy, trying to piece everything together, she sat up, adjusted her Kevlar bulletproof vest and shook her head to clear it. Jesus. She knew it was August 2018. She knew she was part of a police operation at the Brannings warehouse in West Manchester. There was something else that was making her feel sick with anxiety. And then it came to her. Oh my God. Sam. PC Sam Hart, her husband, was being held captive by a drugs gang inside the disused warehouse that loomed over her. "I've got to get him out of there. The place is rigged with explosives and covered in petrol," she thought as fear overwhelmed her. A burly-looking firearms officer reached down and helped pull her to her feet. He looked at her with his blackened face. "Don't worry.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?